Good day, everyone. I'm going to start my presentation with a question. Does anyone know the relationship between these three photos? Could you make a guess? Okay. Before I give you the answer, let me give you a brief story from my family history. One night in 1916, my grandfather, whose name Turad, was surrounded by his followers and fighters. Turad was a much respected leader amongst his tribe. He was so worried at that night because he was expecting a baby and a visitor. He was so busy with his preparation to host a very special visitor, which was at that time Thomas Edward Lawrence, the person who's from the Second World War, whose name continues to be repeated resoundingly across the time. Between my grandfather worries about his wife, the boy, and his host to Awrance of Arabia, a man rushed into his big tent and shouted, "Sheikh Turad, your visitor is approaching the boundaries of the tent." Immediately, my grandfather instructed the man to take 2 horsemen along and go to secure the visitor trip until he reached the boundaries of the tribe. Awrance of Arabia had reached my grandfather's tent, and he had been warmly greeted by my grandfather and by my family members at that time. At the same night, a baby scream was heard from the female tent, followed by someone shouting, "Sheikh Turad, you have been given a boy." The people started congratulating my grandfather and asking him if he's going to name the boy after his grandfather Hamad. After some thought, my grandfather started and repeating the word of Awrence, Awrence. The people started to wonder behind the meaning of Awrence. After some time and some thoughts, he pointed at Awrance of Arabia and said, "I am going to name the boy after your name." This is how the name being established in the north of Saudi Arabia. Long time ago, my grandfather started the name when he named his son after Awrance of Arabia. My father also decided to keep the same name when he named me after my uncle. I am also have the intention to keep the name until it reaches the 6th or the 7th generation of my family. So, the question, why am I bringing this issue to you here, to NAFSA? One morning of a day of 2006, I found very interesting photos of my tribe's army just right before one of its wars in 1899. I sent these photos to the public relations department in Aramco, and I got a call from someone whose name Richard. Richard told me that he wants to meet with me because he think and assume my name came from Lawrence of Arabia. I met with Richard and I gave him so many books, stories, and articles talk about my family relationship with Lawrence of Arabia. Richard told me that it would be best for them to interview me. I have been interviewed by the Dimensions magazine group, and my story has been issued under the title of Awrance of Aramco. The reason I'm presenting this today, because it shows how Aramco respects and appreciates its employees' history. I'm very pleased with the company support its employees' history. So, thank you for Aramco and thank you for you. Thank you.